Hi my friends, I am doing a flip through of my next reading journal that I'm setting up for 2026. I will say that it's not just a 2026 reading journal. This is my previous one that I'm finishing up, which lasted 2021 through 2025. And if you look down in my videos, there's flip throughs of this over the years. I don't know if I'll do a final flip through of it, but this is this year's spread, and yeah, I've run out of room. I don't have room. I decided not to squeeze. I could try to squeeze one more year out of it, and I decided that's no fun. So I want plenty of room to write all the things that I want to write. So this year I have started a new one, and for 2026, I will say I've incorporated some new pages because the back of my current one has all these things, recommended stuff, whatnot, that I didn't have pages to incorporate into. And I'd like to just be able to jot it down on a list and throw away the little scrap paper. So I've got some updates. So first of all, the notebook. This is, I think this was a $20 Thom and Fitch. I don't know. It was $20 one. This one was an $11 one. I love it just as much. The paper is just as nice. It is cream instead of white. It's different, but it's kind of going with my aesthetic, so it's going to work out. And I have 2 ribbons instead of 1, so and it came with these nifty little stencils that fit in the back pocket. So I'm keeping these in here specifically. I'm a big fan of keeping the things you need with the tools you need with the thing that you need them for. So that will be perfect. Have these little dedicated little stencils. If I want to doodle something, I can. It even has like, I don't know if you can see this, but it's got like little earphones, music, camera. What else? It has a light bulb for ideas. It has numbers, lines. I do like this one. Just has squiggles, and this is the one I think I'll probably use the most. It has lines, some edges, just to finish off some stuff where you don't have to run and grab a sticker or whatever. It's all right here. But in the meantime, so it'll go right in. I love a pocket in my front cover. I didn't have that last year, so I added it this year. I did put some washi behind it because the pocket is clear, and that helped it show up a little bit. And then I put stickers on top of the pocket. So I like the way that looks. As far as tools, I used my favorite washi, which I use very sparingly. I only use this washi in my, one of my favorites, in my reading journals, because I have one roll and I've never seen it again. So I think I got it at like a scrapbook festival and expo, and I've never seen it again. So I've got some paper, some script that washi I've torn up, some old stickers. So what I do when I'm creating this, the first thing I do is I have a folder. What did I do with my little folder? Here it is. I have a little folder that I collect bits and bobs of anything that has to do with building this journal. And for the last 3 months I've been collecting it. I've also, because I only do this journal every 4 or 5 years, I did splurge and buy some Etsy printables, but I also included stuff from my stash, and I also included just pictures and ephemera that I've printed off from kits that I had spare pieces of. And then I also, another splurge I did this year, which I've never done before, is I bought a collage book for book lovers. I have looked all over this thing. There's no publishing name. I got it at thriftbooks.com. I mean, book lover ephemera. It's got a picture of a cat on it. That's about all the details. Like, there is no publisher anywhere in here. So, but the artwork is gorgeous, and you'll see it through my thing. And I like the way they did this because, first of all, the paper itself is not toothy. But it's not glossy either, so it's just a nice texture to collage with. you'll see that there's little pictures on one side and then there's a big picture on the other side, so you can use it either way. I used some of both, and then I just I tucked away the pieces that I didn't use in the back for later use, for later journals. Actually, that should probably be like that so it stays safe. But loved this. I got it very inexpensively. I've never done a cut up or a collage book before, but for my first one, this was amazing. I'll definitely consider it when I'm doing a specific journal and I want specific collage art or something like that. It won't be something I'll use all the time because I do like using my own ephemera. And then, so the first step I did was I took stock of my old one, besides collecting stuff as that was going on. I also took stock of my old journal, and I made a list of pages that I wanted in this new journal, and I laid it out, and you can see in the back where I still have some of the stickers. It's an important step. The Post-its. I had a Post-it on each page because they moved around, they changed. Before I built the stickers, I really was like, oh, I want that page. And then I was like, no, I really don't want that page when I started thinking about it and developing pages. So it was nice to not have had already built it or written on it or anything so that I can move it around. And that gave me a lot of flexibility. But it also made sure that I included, like I have a Dutch door in here and I needed to do both, you know, it takes up a whole piece of paper. So I needed to be sure I didn't use that piece of paper for anything else and then not be able to do the Dutch door. Things like that. So you'll see that as I move through. So this is part of the cutout. This is one of the Etsy stickers I had printed, just some from my collection. This was a piece of the cutout book. This was a bag, guys. I saved this bag. It was my cousin and I had been shopping, I think, at a farmer's market, and I bought something tiny, and they put it in this brown paper bag that had Once Upon a Time. And I'm a sucker for anything like A Dark, Stormy Night, Once Upon a Time, anything that has to do with the starting of a book. And so I put the front of the bag here, and then I took the back side of the bag, which was different. I mean, it was an amazing bag. I had to save it, and I'm glad I did because it ended up in here. And so that's the back of my journal. This is just the pocket in the back, which this particular journal, even though it was only like 11, 12 bucks, came with a pocket. So that was awesome too. If my voice is fading, it's because I'm turning my head trying to see what my dog's doing because I feel like they're up to no good. Anyways, just some washi I had in my collection. When I sat down to actually decorate, I collected a bunch of washi that I thought fit my aesthetic, and then anything that I was going to use for specific layouts. Again, random little washis like this Film and this Ticket washi, Scrapbook Expo. This was a Christmas washi I've had for a while, and you'll see why it's in here. Just stuff that fit. So I had it all in one place, but so I could use it repeatedly throughout my book. Oh, is my battery dying? That's fabulous. Well, we may not get to the end of this because my battery may die. So, next page was my table of contents. This again was just a piece of ephemera I had, but I love it because it's like an old book card, and it's got 1974 as the first date, old library card. And I'm a child of the 70s, so it just reminded me of getting books from the library when I was a kid. My table of contents, decorated with the same washis I've used. I think this is one of my favorite pages. This is my favorite movies list, and then I found this one-off sticker on an Etsy shop that I had to have, and so I decorated around it and made a Dutch door. So this was one whole page of this book. I put the sticker on there and I cut around it, and then I added decorations to it because it just is so cute. Let's all go to the library, or let's all go to the lobby. Then this is movies that I want to see. See, movies I want to see over here. And I'll fill it in, and then when I see it, I'll rate it. And I like that. It's easy because you see the commercials, and you know the movies come out like 6, 7, 8 months later, and you're like, oh, what was that movie I wanted to see? I'm also doing a movie challenge which I've never done before. So I added another tracker here so that I could track the Princess Movie Challenge, which this was in an Etsy shop. And I thought, I stopped watching these movies. Like, we saw Little Mermaid, we saw Aladdin when the kids were little. But once kids grew up, we didn't have grandkids or anything. So I stopped watching these. And you know what? Who doesn't want a kids movie, or, you know, a princess movie? So I decided to go back and watch all the ones I've missed. And I even left spot to add a couple, because, you know, they're always coming out with new ones. And then this is where I'll list them and rate them. And I probably won't do this all in 1 year. That's why it's in the first section of my reading journal is Evergreen section. I've got a little paper clip here with a little charm that says Happily Ever After and Once Upon a Time on this little book. And the reason I have it here is because it holds in this. This is my Christmas movie tracker. And I did a spread for it because I found this list of all these wonderful, it was also Etsy shop of all the movies that we watch. I didn't use a few of them because some of them I don't like, okay, don't come at me, but Love Actually, the saddest movie ever. Like, I watched it and I was like, yeah, I don't think I ever want to see this again. It just, being married for 30 years and watching the relationship trials and tribulations, it's real. And, you know, anyways, I'm not going to get into it. I just don't think of it as a Christmas movie. I think of it as, yeah, it's just a movie that happens to have at Christmas. On the other hand, Die Hard is definitely on the list, and we've already watched it. So I don't know. I guess it's a matter of taste, but I laminated this so that I could take it out and put it in, like, because if this book is going to last 4 or 5 years, I wanted to have options. I wanted to be able to take this out and put it in my journal or my Christmas planner or whatever I happen to be using, and then put it back here to live for the year. And I need that paper clip to hold it into this lovely little pocket. This is for the Christmas movie list. And this is a tracker to show all the years that we watched the movie. So I'm hoping this lasts 4 years. I could add a 5th year if I need to, but I think it'll only last 4 years. So, and you can see I've already started filling it in. And yes, I started it in 2025 instead of 2026 because I have it now. So I don't know. It made sense to me. Next one is the TV shows we binge. Here's a list of recommended TV shows. Last year we'd write down a TV show because you forget what shows you're watching. And then I tracked the episodes so that when we finished a show, like I lined it out, like Blacklist. It took us many, many, many months to watch the whole series. Back in the day where they did 22 episodes a year, and there were 12 years of it or something like that. So then, but it's just nice to have. I haven't filled it in. This is my list from my other book. And I haven't filled these in because I don't know what shows we're actually finishing up, and we're going to start new in 2026. So I thought I'd leave that fresh. Unlike the Christmas Tracker movie that I just started. Another one is Podcast Tracker. I listen to some podcasts, and then like during our corporate meetings and stuff, people talk about podcasts they're listening to, and I jot them down, and then they're on Post-it notes, and I never go back and listen to them because they're on Post-it notes everywhere. This was a quote thing that was in my stash. I did buy this microphone from an Etsy shop, and I'll list the Etsy shops below if you guys are interested. Just let me know in the comments. But this was just an old sheet of stickers in my stash that were in the back of my book. I tend to keep things like all my stars, you know, the ratings and everything like that I will need throughout the year. I'll keep right here. Also thumbnails of the books in my TB Read list so that when I'm done reading them, I can just pop them in. Here's favorite quotes, which I liked doing last year. Favorite authors, favorite series. Again, just some torn scrapbook papers. This was from the cutout. Sticker from my stash. This was ephemera from my stash. So just use what you have, collect everything together, and just make it work. Favorite narrators to avoid, because I have returned books based on the narrator, which is kind of sad, but doing audiobooks. recommended reads, because I'm tired of having post-its in the back of the book for that, so it's getting its own page. And holiday reads, because I love seasonal stuff, especially winter and Christmas. Last year I read some Agatha Christie winter mysteries, and it was fantastic. So definitely needed a page to just start listing holiday reads. Genre tracker is because I'm really trying to branch out of just one type of book. And so I want to kind of, I only read about 20 to 24 books a year. So this will last me for several years. So I put it in the Evergreen section, but I want to kind of make sure that I'm doing a mix and not just sticking to one genre as I have in the past. So, and this is just an indicator that we're talking about the books now. We're moving into the actual year, which is 2026. So here's my 2026 reading pile. This is my TBR list, and I'll put the names of the books that I have in my audiobook or that I have on my shelf that I haven't read yet, and it'll go there. These are my reading goals. Like I said, 24, and my goal met here. This is my first challenge. I'm going to do some, I had this thriller challenge in my stash for a couple years, so I decided to use it this year. And I'm doing a book bingo, and here's another Dutch door I made, which I just decorated the side to make a pocket. Let me rephrase that. I made the Dutch door based on a journaling card I had, and then I just decorated the back of it so that I can make this little pocket for these little daisies that go in the books. But I also made a list because there's no room to say what book I read. It just says a book published the year you were born. Well, I want to notate what book that is, so this list goes with this. These are the books I put thumbnails on, and I did make, instead of a page of its own, this year I did a did not finish row because there's not that many, and I only made 2 pages for the thumbnails. I can always, if I need more, I can always like do a tip in of another page, but I really find like there's room for 24. There's actually room for 28, which if I've read 28 books in a year, I have eye issues, so I don't read that many. And then this is going into my actual review section. So, and then I'll review books until the end of the year. Then at the end of the year, I'll do, and I have a note to remind myself to do my end of year wrap up. And this post-it note will just go back until it's the end of the year and I do my wrap up, because I like to have that. And then I'll do another 2027 spread like this. So, okay, this was much faster. This is probably the 3rd time I filled this guy, and I just couldn't get through it. Because I was trying to give you guys too much information, compare the two from last year to this year. So if you want to see what I did different from last year, you can. I will show you a couple things that I'll be continuing. Like I said, the back pocket, I keep stuff in. These are all these little post-it notes that I won't have anymore. This is just a measure for bullet journaling that came with this book. I have a series lists that I've printed that will go in the back, lives in the back pocket. I also have a little envelope, and it's full of thumbnails of books I have in my thing to read. And I do it in 2 sizes. I do big and little because I do a big picture for the review, but I do these little thumbnails to keep track of my year in general. So, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you got some ideas from this. I'm really looking forward to digging in and filling this out. Happy reading, guys. Happy 2026.